So if you were to summarize like a blueprint, right, for a Sikh advocacy group or any journalist in the UK, what's the step-by-step process?
I think on first things first, electing more MPs won't necessarily solve the community's problems. And this is not a knock on current MPs. You guys have some good MPs here. It's not a knock on politicians. It's not a knock on people who are trying to aspire to be a politician. I ran for municipal council, lost because of Diwali. The election was on the same day as Diwali. This is my like pity, like, please, sure. This is why. Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Well, I lost twice.
He's lost twice. So he's
I got no excuses.
He's double the failure.
The common denominators just got to help.
Yes.
Those campaigns.
Wherever I go. So. All right. Something has to be said about that.
Just going on that piece, is there research to support that?
There is research. There's actually research. It was done by a UK school. I don't remember. I think it was LSE.
Did you read it? Or
I did read it. It's not a false memory. I know I 100%.
I read it.
You read it as well.
But I don't remember where I read it.
I'm pretty sure it was LSE because I found it after. But they actually researched specifically on the question of looking at the kind of diaspora communities in the UK. And this is true about Canada, US, like similar kind of communities. That is it worthwhile for communities to invest more in trying to get more MPs elected to ensure that their voices are heard in Parliament on like policy issues or studies or whatever, committees at the government level? Or is it better to just invest more into third-party advocacy groups, right? So think of like the World Sikh Organization, right? That does like government relations side advocacy work. And what they found is one of the problems with political parties in the UK and Canada in particular, the American system is completely different. You can't, it's a completely different system. But Canada and US at least, Canada and UK is the same system. What the problem is when you elect officials is they operate in the parameters of party politics, right? And so what they're gunning for is party favors. They're gunning for, being appointed to cabinet. They're gunning for portfolios. And the system is one in which that rewards hard loyalty to the party line, right? It doesn't award like unique and new perspectives necessarily. Or it's very bureaucratic to kind of get that process going. And so when MPs get elected from communities like ours, once they're inside, regardless of their intentions, a lot of them have great intentions.
Absolutely.
It's just that when they get in, they're confined by this system. And then what not good MPs do is they start gatekeeping the community out to control inputs in so that they can show the party that they're the ones in charge. And if folks in the community are saying something that's opposed to what they've already told, perhaps, or they want to tell within the party, they will block those voices out. And what this research found was that if you have very strong advocacy groups, that have resources, that have funding, that have the means to engage in government relations and stakeholder engagement and media relations, those organizations can do just as good a job of ensuring, in fact, better job of ensuring community voices are heard if the MP is not even from their community, right? So I'll just get the typical example. You have a white, Anglo-Saxon Protestant. We're in UK, so that actually is more relevant to say that. You go to, some of the, your mainstream UK white background MP who has no idea about these issues. But like, he's a good MP. Like, he's willing to listen. There's bad MPs from all communities. Let me just make that clear. But this is someone who's a good MP. He wants to listen. He wants to listen to his constituency. He cares about that. The community has some issues. I want to hear about them. And you come to him as, let's say, basic of Sikhi, comes to them and comes with, self-help Gurdwara, and comes with, whatever, large UK Sikh organizations. They kind of come together and they bring up forward a report regarding the Bloom report or something, right? Or regarding Khanda's death. And go to this MP who's not from the community, but you're able to kind of effectively advocate and lobby. That MP, because he himself is not biased with his own understandings of the issue, he's not biased with his own understanding of the community. Oh, well, these guys are Munnis, so I'm not going to listen to them. Or, these guys are Singhs, but they tie their bug this way, so I'm not going to listen to them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they're not like bunkered down by their own biases or misinformed opinions because, they grew up in the community, but like, they're not necessarily part of the community, or they're not deeply invested, or they have their own agenda. And I use these terms kind of loosely. That Guru is just going to listen to whatever you're saying. He's going to take the report, and he's going to be like, well, this is your conclusion? Okay, I'm going to go inside and advocate on your behalf that my constituents are saying this. Their treatment of the issue is different. And again, this is not like us making this up. Like, there's a report that actually kind of delved into this and kind of explored these topics. And there's been a lot of interesting research from like Canada as well on kind of, you know, the value of political engagement for
Just to give an example of the other side of that. So have you guys heard of MP Bob Blackman?
Yes.
So he's get the same thing, right? He gets third party groups from the Hindu RSS community have obviously lobbied him.
Yeah.
And he's gone into parliament and said Sikhs are terrorists.
Yes.
Which is just crazy.
It's crazy.
Insane.
Especially with the history of Sikhs in this country.
Yes.
This blows me away. Right? Like, it really does, right? You know, the fact that we even in the UK, we struggle with these issues, having the history and all that we have, right?
Yeah.
But do you think there's any benefit of having Sikh representation as an MP?
So my opinion on this is you need both. You need very strong Sikh representation. It's important to have that. And like, again, you guys have MPs that have done good work as well. But you also need strong, unified Sikh advocacy, which I don't know if that's necessarily the state of affairs currently in the UK. In Canada, it's very clear who your advocacy organization is. It's a WSO, right? That's the only show in the town. But as an organization, we do a great job of ensuring that it's reflective of the Sikh community, right? Where, you know, two like shameless Monnik and, you know, that I think decent human beings and good at what they do are part of the team.